Day 12 of 10 minutes of gentle yoga every morning of February. How is everyone doing? We're going to do a little bit of a balancing sequence this morning. Just remembered one thing I haven't done. There's so much to think about whenever I go live. And this is all very new to me. But we're here, we're showing up. So yeah, we're going to do a bit of a balancing practice this morning. And that's one where kind of your breath really comes into its own. That's really where, if you can kind of bring your focus into one place, it will really help with your balance and kind of finding that flow in a way that feels kind of more natural. So let's get stuck straight in. We're going to start seated. So as always, just finding somewhere that works best for you. So that can be like me, I stack one foot on the ground in front of the other, flat on the ground so my knees can drop down. You can sit cross-legged, you can kind of stack one leg on top of the other for that lotus position if you prefer. You can sit on your knees, you can lie down. Just find somewhere that you can come to stillness just for a couple of minutes. Somewhere that's going to be nice and comfortable for you. Just finding somewhere to place the hands. And maybe if it feels comfortable to do so, just closing down the eyes. Just observing what's around you, the different noises you can hear, how you're feeling this morning. Are you hot? Are you cold? Are you feeling energized and good? Maybe depending on where you are in the world, you're finishing up the day. Just check in. And then not changing anything with it at all, but just bringing your awareness to your breath. Just noticing, are you breathing deeply down into the belly? Or maybe quicker, more shallow breaths up in the chest. If you'd like to, and it feels comfortable for you to, just invite you to slightly deepen the breath. So by lengthening those inhales and exhales. And maybe if you don't already, just seeing how it would feel to inhale through the nose. And out through the mouth or nose. Just feel into it. And notice. If the eyes are closed, just begin to blink them open, keeping a hold of that deeper breath that we've just connected to. We're going to come to find all fours, so tabletop position. We're going to bring the hands underneath the shoulders, the knees underneath the hips. Take any nice kind of gentle movement you'd like to take here first. And then we're going to take the first little bit of balancing that we're going to do today. So we're going to take opposite arm and opposite leg off the mat. So first things first, we'll take right arm off the mat. So just bringing your attention and your awareness into that left hand. And as you do, gently bring that right hand up out in front of you. And then same thing, let's think about bringing our awareness into the right knee. and maybe the top of the right foot, or maybe tucking that back foot if you feel like it will give you some more stability. And as you do, we're just going to send that left leg out behind us. Flex through the foot so you're pointing the toes down towards the ground. Finding some opposition between that right hand, that left leg, engaging through the core, pressing through the right knee, pushing the mat away through that right arm, that right hand. Spider through the fingers of that left hand so you can feel the ground beneath you with each fingertip. And then we're slowly just going to bring everything back down onto the mat. Give yourself a little shake out if you need. And then we're going to take it onto the other side. So this time, bringing your awareness into your right hand as you bring the left hand off the mat. And then same thing again, so taking your awareness into the left knee, growing light first on that right knee, and then slowly bringing it up in space, out behind you, pointing the toes down towards the ground. Spider through the fingers of the right hand to give you that extra bit of balance here as you feel the ground beneath your fingertips. Really reaching through the left hand, reaching in front of you, kicking the heel of the right foot back behind you. And then let's replace everything back down onto the mat. Really nice, everyone. We're going to make our way towards the top of the mat now. So there's a couple of ways you can do this. If you're more inclined to downward facing dog, you can tuck the toes here, press through the hands, send the knees and the hips up into downward facing dog, and then just take baby steps towards the top of the mat, meeting in. We're going to find a ragdoll pose, so meeting in that forward fold. If you don't fancy taking a downward facing dog this morning, I'm going to take it easier. I don't really fancy a downward facing dog this morning. You can come up onto your knees. You can maybe bring the hands onto the hips, and then you can step one foot forwards, followed by the other, coming towards the top of the mat. And then, as I say, we're going to find that ragdoll. So just bending at the knees, finding that forward fold position, nice generous bend. We haven't really moved much yet today, so we don't want to overstretch our hamstrings. So let everything hang really heavy. Drop the arms down to the mat. Drop the neck down. Allow everything to feel super heavy. And then really slowly, we're going to just roll all the way up to standing. Keeping the chin tucked into the chest, we're going to lift the head. That's the very last thing that we do once we come to standing. And we'll meet in mountain pose at the top of the mat. Taking any extra movements here you might like to. So I always love a nice few shoulder shrugs when I get to the top of the mat. Any kind of shake out you'd like to do. And then finding that stillness in that mountain pose. Palms can face forwards. Feeling really grounded through the feet, maybe engaging through the through the glutes, through the quads. And as you engage that, maybe lifting the kneecaps ever so slightly. Feeling like you're really grounded here in this mountain pose. Also called Tadasana. From here, we're going to find a high lunge. So really pressing into that right foot, we're going to step the left foot back in space. We're going to bend into the right knee, press the heel of the left foot back down towards the ground. And as you inhale, we're going to send the arms up overhead. And same as we did in low lunge yesterday, if you feel like you need a bit extra balance, you can walk that front foot a little bit wider. And if you'd like a little bit extra stretch, you can walk the front foot a little bit further forwards to lengthen your stance. Just find a version of high lunge here that works for you. Breathing and really reaching towards the sky here. On an exhale, we're going to bring the hands down onto the hips. We're going to step the back foot, kind of back up halfway in between where the legs are right now. You want that right foot, the toes to still be pointing forwards. And then the toes of the back foot, they can be pointing out slightly. So that may be like 10 o'clock position on the watch face. And we're going to find a pyramid pose today. So as you inhale, think about a nice long spine. And then as you exhale, we're just going to hinge at the hips, folding forwards over that front leg. You can feel that stretch all the way down through the back of the right leg. And if this is a little bit too intense first thing in the morning, you can just bend that left leg as much as you need, just to give you a little bit more release in this pose. Really nice, everyone. Keep breathing. We're going to inhale, bring the hands back onto the hips, come back up to stand. Bringing both feet together. I'm just going to turn so that you guys can see me a little bit better to demonstrate. We're going to find tree pose. And tree pose is probably one that a lot of people have seen in yoga. It's quite a popular balancing pose. And to get ourselves into it, we are going to take the feet kind of hips width apart and just start to feel the ground beneath your feet. So just start to maybe move forwards and backwards, left and right, just really feeling the ground beneath you as you move through those kind of gentle movements, just sort of feeling where you are in that space. Come into stillness. We're going to find a point out in front of us that we can focus on that isn't going to move. A nice still point out ahead of you, kind of at your eye line if possible, finding that point. And then we're going to let our right leg begin to grow a little bit lighter. We're going to press into the left foot. We're going to feel really grounded through that left foot and just start to lift the heel of the right foot. Maybe just bringing it off the ground just for a second. Go back down, just noticing how it feels, noticing what happens with the rest of your body, how you compensate when you lift that leg off the ground. And then maybe if it feels okay, if you feel that you have your balance here, you can gently guide that right foot somewhere on the inside of the left leg. So that can be up in the thigh, it can be down, further down, or I'm about to go on your leg, it can be down on the shin, it can be on the ankle. Just finding somewhere to place that right foot. Focusing on that spot out in front of you that we found earlier. Reconnecting with your breath, those nice deep inhales and exhales, keep you nice and focused. Really pressing into the ground with the left foot. And don't worry about wobbles or falling out of the pose. Happens to all of us all the time. Our balance isn't the same every single day. And when you're ready, just bringing both feet back down onto the mat. Give your legs a little shake out. If it's not something you do too often, you might really feel that. So yeah, give yourself a nice good shake. You're going to reset everything and we're going to do the same again, but we're going to do it on the other side. So this time we're going to bring our feet together just for a second. And then we're going to take that high lunge, but on the other side. So this time we're going to step the right foot back in space, pressing into that front left foot, sending the right leg back in space. So we're pressing our heel down into the mat. It's probably not going to come down to the mat, which is absolutely fine. And we're trying to stay nice and strong through that front left leg. We're trying to make sure that it doesn't accidentally fall over towards the right. We're trying to keep nice and strong here. Widen your stance or lengthen your stance as much as you feel you need. Engaging through the core, inhaling as you send the arms up overhead. Really reaching for the ceiling, for the sky. Feeling through that side body as you stretch up. Finding that breath. Focusing. And then when you're ready, just bring the hands onto the hips. And just as we did on the other side, we're just going to step that back foot kind of halfway between where we were in low lunge. Left foot points towards the top of the mat. And then those right toes can just kind of tick-tock out a little bit. They can sort of, that was nicely done. They can kind of face about kind of 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock position. And then same thing as we did, bringing the hands onto the hips. We are just going to hinge at the hips and fold forwards over the left leg. Bending that right knee as much or as little as you need, just to kind of feel into the pose a little bit more. And also if you'd like to bend into that left leg so that the stretch is a bit less intense, absolutely do that. I keep harping on about this, but yoga is all about kind of honoring yourself and meeting yourself where you are. So you're just feeling into it and giving yourself what your body needs. Really nice, everyone. On an inhale, bring the hands back onto the hips as you come back up. And then again, I'm going to just switch myself around so you can see, but bringing both feet underneath the hip points, hip distance apart. We're going to find tree on the other side. So same as we did, just kind of begin to find some gentle movement here, left to right, front and back. Just feeling the ground beneath your feet, feeling nice and grounded here. We're going to begin to shift the weight into the right foot this time. And we're going to grow, can't get my words out. You're going to go nice and light on that left foot. Maybe lifting the heel and placing it back down. Maybe lifting it just a couple of times. If that's where you are today, meet yourself there. We're all making our own progress in a way that works the best for us. Finding that focus point out in front of you, something that's not going to move, that you can bring your attention to. Bringing your awareness back to your breath, that deeper breath. And if it feels comfortable to do so, my balance is not good today. Bringing the left foot somewhere on the inside of the right leg. Maybe hands come into prayer position at the heart. Really press into the ground with that right foot. You keeping that focus on your breath. Gazing at that spot out in front of you. I'm about to fall out. And we don't care about the wobbles and the shakes and falling out. It's all part of the process, and that is why we're doing this. Give everything a good shake. Oh, really nice, everyone. Right, we're at the top of the mat. You're going to inhale, send the arms up overhead, gazing up at the thumbs. And then as you exhale, send everything down, forward fold. Nice deep bend in the knees. Inhale, halfway lift. Think about that flat back position. So we're trying to balance something on the back here as we gaze straight down. Exhale, send the hands down to the mat. And then we're going to set the right leg back, followed by the left. Coming into that tabletop position. You can take a plank here if you prefer, or if you want a little bit extra. We're just going to lower down. So bending through the elbows, coming to lie flat on the mat. You're going to find an upward facing dog this morning. So tucking the hands in towards the ribs, in towards the kind of chest space, pressing down into the ground. And as you inhale, we're going to press into the tops of the feet, open through the chest, straighten through the arms, finding a back bend that works for you today. Exhale, send everything down to the mat. And then we're just going to press ourselves back up into that all fours position, just as a transition, because we're going to swing the legs around and we're going to come onto our backs. As we come to end the practice, we're going to find reclined pigeon as our last pose today. So with your knees bent and the soles of your feet on the mat, just bring your right foot off the mat and send it across onto the left knee. And this might be enough today. If that is enough for you, enjoy it. Feel that stretch here. Honor it. Give yourself that permission to hang out here. If you'd like a little bit more, you can lift that left foot off the mat. You can flex through that foot so the toes are being sent up towards the ceiling. And again, if you'd like even more, you can see how this pose builds. So it's for you to find the level of intensity you'd like this morning. You can take your arms through that gap. You can clasp the fingers and you can gently pull that left leg in towards the body. The more you pull that leg in towards your body, the more you'll feel that stretch all the way down the right side of the hip. And you can, if you'd like to, straighten the left leg here, sending the heel up towards the sky. Releasing back down, we're going to send the left foot onto the mat, unravel, and we'll take it to the other side. So this time, left leg comes off the mat, sending the left foot across onto the right knee. And again, feeling free to stay here in this space and enjoy this pose. Or if you'd like to take it a step further, you can lift the right leg off the mat, flex through the foot, sending the toes towards the ceiling. Maybe taking the arms through that gap behind the thigh, interlacing the fingers. And then you can gently guide that right leg in towards the body and maybe straighten through that right leg. So loads of options in this pose, loads of different steps. And you can decide kind of how much you'd like to take from this pose today. And that's just the thing I'd love to get across. Trust yourself. It doesn't have to look like my practice at all. And it definitely won't look like the next person's. And that is the beauty of it. Bringing the sole of the right foot down to the mat, unraveling, sole of the left foot comes to meet it. We're going to send both legs out long, arms come alongside the body. And we're going to find Shavasana for our final resting pose. As always, if lying flat on your back isn't comfortable for you, feel free to come to a seat of your choice or a pose of your choice, just where you can enjoy a couple of minutes to yourself. Allow everything to feel really heavy if you're in Shavasana. Feel like everything is just melting down into the ground. Letting everything go and just allowing yourself to be here in this moment. Allowing your breath to return to its natural rhythm. If you haven't already, closing down the eyes maybe. And just taking some time for you. I will leave you there. But as always, if you have the extra time to spend here, maybe in Shavasana, or if you're in that seated position, absolutely take it, give yourself that time and enjoy it. This is just 10 minutes to prioritize you each day. So do with it what you will, but kind of just acknowledge that you showed up and that you're doing this for you. And as always, I'll be back tomorrow and I will see you